What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull Season 2, Episode 17, Gag Order. This one was actually fairly interesting for most of it. Really enjoyed the story going into it. It was actually very intricate. You got this company who's taking this woman to court because she broke in to try to get some information. Apparently, these women have been using their dating app, and then they end up getting raped, and then the company covers it up to make sure nobody knows about the story. And so this woman is trying to write an article about it, and of course, doesn't have enough information. So she gets some information from somebody she thinks is working in the company, breaks in, gets arrested, and now they're accusing her of trying to steal company secrets. And so now they're treating it like a federal crime. And so that's pretty much what this episode is about. It's just her being tried for this, which she did not commit. The company actually sent somebody to pretend like they worked for the company and wanted to be a whistleblower, and actually framed her for this. And so ultimately they're able to figure this out, but the person that the company hired won't say anything, which of course looks very suspicious already on the company. And they find some more information that helps them realize that, the CEO of the company didn't lose his card, but had the key cards changed specifically for when this woman, Chloe, broke in. And so they kind of make it look that way, and of course then the jury finds her not guilty, and so she's able to write the article. It's fairly straightforward, but there are a few things that make this a little bit more interesting. First of all, there's a gag order, which is the title of the episode released, which we find out apparently means that she cannot... I kind of know what a gag order is. I've heard it used in other shows and a few video games. But basically, she can't publish anything. She can't say anything about the information that she found. Basically, they're trying to silence her by making it look like she stole some company secrets that are technically able to be placed under a gag order of sorts. So that's why they made it look like this, to pretty much silence her and put her in prison for quite a long time, making her look like she's a spy. So that was a pretty big thing in this. Also, we see that because they're treating it like it's such a high security thing of data. It's in an empty courtroom. It's a closed court, which means there's no mirror jury, which means Bull has to go in with no earpiece. They're pretty much flying blind. And it is interesting. It's interesting to see that. It's interesting to see how they cope with that. But the case itself, I enjoyed getting to see them up against it and really trying to push hard against this company who's just trying to keep its secrets, keep its skeletons in the closet. I don't know. I always like that. I always like whenever it's a bit more intense and you're really up against the wall, in between a rock and a hard place type of thing. So I enjoyed getting to see that. They bring in a new guy to work as the technical, pretty much taking Cable's job. But then he gets to a point where he can't figure it out, and so he goes and gets Cable's help for it, which she helps him, tells him, don't tell Bull. If he knows it came from me, he'll probably be too frustrated to even accept this information. And so he doesn't, but then Bull figures out anyway, and then asks her, do you want to work again? She's like, yes. And he's like, okay, see you tomorrow. And now her story means absolutely nothing. There are two things about this episode that really frustrated me. Because the story itself was fine. I really enjoyed the story. Most of the episode I did enjoy. However, Cable's story, stupid. Because basically it makes the last several episodes, the episode where she got kicked off the team, the episodes where she's been off the team and the team has been arguing about, oh, you should have said something. All of those episodes mean nothing. Because it's as simple as, oh, you helped on this case? You're back on the team! Come on, Cable, that was just a misunderstanding. We're all good here. Why? Then why even have her get kicked off the team if all it takes is, oh, she helps on a case and that's it? It should have been more than that. There should have been more to it. And that's my biggest frustration. You spend these episodes talking about, Danny's upset because Cable's on the team. Bull's upset because they're upset she's not on the team. And he's upset at her for what she did. And now 2 episodes later, oh, she helped? Come on back, Cable. I was just kidding with you. It was whatever. Come on back. Sure, you broke the law. You ended up in prison. But yeah, just come on back. So it just, I don't know. It feels pointless now. All of the story that involved that feels pointless. It should have been more like you helped, all right, so clearly you had my best interest in mind because you made sure he didn't tell. But it's not going to be that simple. It takes trust building instead of just, oh no, okay, come on back. It's just too easy. It's like they were tired of this story of, oh, she's not on the team anymore, and so they just want to wrap it up like that. And that's all it was. It's stupid. The other thing that really frustrated me was this story between Chunk and his daughter. Um, I don't know. I don't know why this story pisses me off so much, but anytime this story pops up where parent gets reunited with a child that they haven't had in their life for a while, and then the child is upset at the parent, and they're just like so pissed off, like, you don't get to come back into my life and act like my parent now. Anytime that story pops up, I just get pissed off. I don't know why. I don't know why it frustrates me so much, but just something about it, it's so overdone. First of all, like, I feel like I've seen this story in every single TV show that I've watched, and it just feels wrong. It feels like, oh, you're my parent and you're coming into my life. I mean, yes, okay, they did lie to you. They did say, okay, this is your Uncle Chunk. He's not actually dad. He's your uncle. Ha ha ha. And now she's finding out, oh no, wait, this is actually my dad. Okay, yeah, that could be a little bit world turning. Like, oh, I didn't think you were my dad, and now you are. That's weird. It's gonna take some adjusting. But to get pissed off at him, it just feels like you're just acting like a brat. You're acting like one of those spoiled college kids. It's like, oh, you didn't tell me this, you lied to me? Well, I'm entitled, so I get to be mad at you for that. And it just takes up time, and then at the end of the episode, they reconcile again. What is this, like the third time that they've reconciled now? And so it just feels like all the fighting in the middle of this episode was just pointless, just waste of time until, oh, they reconcile at the end. And even then, she's like, you realize we're not good yet. She's like, but I might need a place to stay when I'm going to Columbia. And it's like, oh, great, so you're going to come down and then there's going to be more fights, and I can't wait to see that. So yeah, I'm pretty frustrated with those two storylines. I feel like, they're not really leading anywhere. They should have some sort of personal feel. It should feel like there's some character growth going on, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like it's just a waste of time until we get to, okay, we gotta waste time with Cable's story. She's off the team. Bull's mad at her. The team's mad at Bull for kicking her off the team. Now this is gonna take up a few episodes until eventually she's back on the team. With Chunk, okay, his daughter's mad at him. His daughter's mad at him, and now she's not. We just need to bide some time until they make up. Stupid. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Those two stories frustrated me. The main story, I don't know, it was really enjoyable, and so it's kind of like a balancing act. You had that part of it, which took up a majority of the episode, was enjoyable, and then you had those two stories that were just there for a little bit, and I'm just. But yeah, so that's it for this one. So on to the next one. See you guys there. And now episode 18, Bad Medicine. So this one might be a little bit more controversial just because it is something that is hotly debated sometimes when it comes to our real society. And that is, the idea of medicine. Obviously, the treatment of medical marijuana is something that has been discussed very heatedly in the past. So we kind of have that idea here. This woman is taking her son home. She's got a lot of these little vials of a type of medical marijuana, and the cop ends up finding it on her, and so she's taken to court. But then all of a sudden, like, the assistant district attorney for the U.S. steps in and says, we're going to try this case as a federal case, because she's got so much and she's taken it across state lines to a state where it's illegal to have the medicine. And so, the team has to step in, and they're trying to twist it in such a way where she's not a criminal for what she's doing. And this is where things do get a little bit dicey, because it's like, well, how far do you go? Obviously she did break the law, but at the same time she's doing it for a good reason. Her son has cancer, and the chemo is pretty much just torturing him. And so she had to stop, and then she gave him a little bit of this medicinal marijuana, and he started feeling better. He started looking better as well. And so she's like, well, I mean, heck, if this works, I'm going to start doing it for my patients too. And so that's why she started doing this. And so it is kind of interesting to see that side of it, that side of, well, if it's working and I'm helping people, why would I stop? If I have the treatment, why why wouldn't I give it to him? And so that is kind of the argument that the team goes for. What I really, really liked about this episode, though, is the district attorney on the other side. At first, she kind of seemed like she was just this jerk. You know, like, oh, she's just trying to put her away because all the law is the law, and that's how it is, and that's, you know, who cares if I'm taken away from her son? Who cares if I'm, you know, having her son taken away from her? I mean, who cares about all that? I'm just gonna do it because that's the law. And even when Bull sits down and talks with her at the bar, he asks, you know, oh, so what? You don't have any kids? Or well, he starts to imply that, because you know he's fairly certain that she's the one that had this doctor's son taken away from her. And of course, she instantly catches on to that. She's like, "Oh, what? So because you're gonna say because I don't have a son, like I can't understand how it feels. You know, you're suggesting I lack that empathy just because I don't have kids." And you can kind of get this sense that it's more than that. There's something else there. And at first, it didn't hit me. And then at the end of the episode, they even have like this little thing where she, you know, after they win the case, Bull goes up to her and is like, "You seem pretty happy for somebody who just lost." She's like, "Well, you know, the system worked. I did my job, you did your job, and you know, she ends up getting out okay. And that's just how the system works." And she walks out, and Benny comes up and she's like, she's a tough character, isn't she? She's like, and Bull just looks at him and says, "Is she?" Like, kind of suggesting that maybe there's something else there. And it's just like, yeah, you could tell she was out for blood. And then I started thinking about it, and it hit me, if she hadn't called them to, you know, to the, called Child Protective Services to her house, and had them take her son to the doctor's office, the doctors would have never had a chance to examine him and find out that her treatment of this, I think it's CDB is what, I can't really remember what the initials for it were, but they examine him and find out that this treatment has been working for him. And on top of that, they even get a doctor that examines him to testify in court for them, which wins over a lot of their jurors. And I'm just like, did she know, like, this was going to be the case? Did she realize that if he went to get checked up by the doctors? Because that's, Child Protective Services did not come and say, "Oh, we're taking your son away from you." They said, "He's in danger and we need to take him to the doctors to have them examine him because his life is in danger." And so you can almost look at it and say, well, maybe she did that on purpose so that the doctors could examine him and prove that what she's been doing has been working. And it kind of argues Bull's case for them. And I don't know. I don't know if that's what they were going for. I don't know if that's just implied. But if it is, it's very, very clever. Because nobody, I mean, even at the end of the episode, they don't say that. They don't say, "Oh, well, maybe that's what she was trying to do. Maybe she called them because she wanted him to be examined." They don't even necessarily say that, but you could probably infer that that's exactly what she was trying to accomplish. So, I don't know. If that's the case, I think it makes for a much more complex character than just somebody who, oh, the law is the law and she committed a crime and she deserves to be put in prison for it. You know, it makes her seem more complex in that case. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But that side of it definitely seemed pretty intriguing to me. As far as the rest of it, you know, pretty typical Bull. You know, you got them looking at the jurors, trying to figure out which jurors would work out best. You got the team working together. Cable's back on the team. They don't focus on her story anymore. You know, the fact that she broke the law and got kicked off, that's completely just out the window now. Like, they don't even talk about it anymore. I was like, what was the point of that story then? If you're not even going to discuss any of this now, why even have that happen? It took up a few episodes and that's all it was. So it is still something I'm a little bit frustrated about. But overall, I mean, this was a good episode, very emotional as well. I enjoyed getting to see the team fight for somebody, you know, who was technically a criminal but was doing it for a good reason. I don't know, it's kind of a feel-good story. So anyway, that's it pretty much for this episode. So now on to the last of these three before I'm caught up. See you there. And last up, before I'm officially caught up on all my CBS shows, now I just gotta get it caught up on Walking Dead, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, Legion, probably some of the CW shows. Anyway, this is episode 19, A Redemption, and it was a pretty good episode. You know, it was emotional. It hit all the right points, in my opinion. It didn't really go too far into the realm of just, I don't know. It felt like this really could get frustrating because this guy, I mean, his brother goes into a store, ends up killing someone, and all he did, he was just waiting outside for him, and he ended up driving him away from the scene of the crime. That was it. He had no knowledge of it, and it felt like this really could have turned into an episode where it's like, oh, we really want to nail this guy because he helped this other guy get away. But by the end of it, it really did feel like the prosecutor was only trying to do his job. And that's what I liked about the last episode before this one as well. You know, the fact that by the end of it, you kind of felt like the prosecutors just doing their job. You know, they're supposed to attack this case from every angle to try to figure out, you know, are we considering all the possibilities? And then the defense attorney, they step in, they do their job, they defend their client, you know, bring up the points to counteract all the different arguments, and ultimately that's what it is. That's how it works. So I don't know. I really like that. I like the fact that the guy did at the end of the episode just say, you know what, I was wrong. I had an idea about this case, but I was 100% wrong about that. So yeah, I want to dismiss this case. I'm like, thank you. It's good to see that not all of the attorneys, not all of the prosecutors that they're going to face are going to be jerks. Some of them are just trying to do their job, and this is what they're paid to do. I mean, heck, there was that one episode where, you know, Bull was defending the client, and he ended up helping him get an innocent verdict, even though the guy was guilty, because that's just what he's hired to do. So I don't know. I enjoyed that side of it. I'm glad they didn't take it into just the prosecutor's like, no, he's definitely guilty. So with all that being said, you know, aside from that, there were a few things here and there that I felt like could be done a bit better. I did like the wife for the most part, kind of standing by him. For a moment, it felt like she was going to turn into that, oh, you lied to me about your name and everything, and he's not exactly who I thought he was. But no, she went to talk to him, he explained a lot of stuff, and she felt like, okay, he's still the man I know. But then it's revealed that apparently their children were not named after this baseball player he loved or whatever he told her. It was actually after his parents. And so when she finds that out, she's just like, oh, I can't believe he did that. And that's when her reaction is the typical, oh my gosh, he lied to me. And then she walks out and makes it look bad. So it's kind of like they wanted to have both. They wanted to have the understanding wife, but also have the moment where she feels like she's been lied to and then stands up. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not stands up against him. More like walks out on him, I guess, literally and figuratively. So, I don't know, it's like they wanted to do both things. They wanted to have an understanding character, but also have a character feeling wronged, and so they just did it in the same character, and it didn't really work out. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I've seen most of the things whenever something like this happens, whenever somebody reveals that, you know, oh, you've lied about something. I mean, Chunk's daughter, perfect example. You know, oh, you're not actually my uncle, you're my dad? Well, I hate you and my mom for not telling me this before. How is that a normal reaction, you know? Okay, so they lied to you about some things. They're telling you the truth now. I get that it hurts, but her reaction is just so bratty and just so, like, I don't know, over the top. It just doesn't feel right. And so they could have done that with the wife. They didn't go all the way. They just kind of went halfway. So thank goodness for that. They also get the brother to step in. I did like the fact that it was a little bit of a twist. The brother didn't actually mean to kill the guy. You know, it was actually a bit of a setup. They pretended like he was robbing the place, just to sort of get the insurance money and do all that stuff. But because he put the gag on the guy and the guy had a panic attack while he had the gag on, he ended up choking on his own vomit and dying. And so it wasn't your typical, oh, the brother just killed him because the brother's evil or anything like that. Even the brother wasn't evil. It was just an accident about what happened. So I don't know. I like the fact that it wasn't very straightforward. It was kind of a little bit twisty here and there. Oh, okay. So it wasn't actually murder. It was an accidental death. I don't know. I like it whenever shows can sort of play with your expectations like that. So overall, I mean, this episode, it was good. It was enjoyable. It felt like everybody in it, it felt very realistic. You know, everybody involved felt like a realistic person. It didn't feel like characters in some fictional TV show. I think sometimes that's where some of these shows can, the ones that are supposed to be a bit more realistic, you look at like Criminal Minds, you look at NCIS, the other two CBS shows I watch, there are some times when they do feel like very fictional characters, and I'm watching a fictional world. In this episode, it felt like real life. It felt like this is something that could happen, and everybody's reactions felt very real. And I do feel like that's what the show has going for it. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And overall, I mean, these 3 episodes, I enjoyed all 3 of them. It's still a show that I know I enjoy, even though not everybody will, just because it's more my cup of tea. But with all that being said, I mean, it's still a show that just has good writing to it. It's not something where the writing is just so over the top or so stupid that there are going to be people that are just like, oh, this show is awful. It's a good show. It's a well written show, and the characters in it are very well written as well. So that's about it for these 3 episodes, though. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts over these 3? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future bowl reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.